What's going on, guys? Clifton Denny with On Your Own Outdoors. Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about an archery target, right? So the target we're going to talk about today is the Morrell Yellow Jacket 425. What's that 425 means? It means that it's supposed to withstand an arrow coming up to 425 foot per second. We're going to talk about some pluses and some minuses about this target, the reasons why you would buy this target, in my opinion, over the more expensive target. So number one, guys, when you're just getting into archery hunting, what's something that you want in a target, right? I know for myself, it's something big and something cheap, right? I don't want to lose any arrows because I'm missing the whole target. You just spent $1,800 or $500 or $1,500, whatever you spent on your bow. So the last thing you want to do is have to spend a few $100s on a bag or on a target. So that was my original reason for getting one of these bag targets, and for what they are, they're absolutely great. So when I bought my targets a couple weeks ago, when I upgraded my bow, I ended up with this one, and then I ended up with a smaller target, right? So the reason that I got this target, even me, I've been shooting for 15 years. The reason why I went with this Yellow Jacket, it is a larger target. So whenever it comes to sighting in my bow, it makes it a hell of a lot easier to hit a 20 by 20 than it does like a 10 by 10. It just is what it is, right? Numbers are numbers. So anyways, guys, number one, good thing about these bag targets, right? So this Morrell target at Max Prairie Wings, it comes in at like $59.99. They've got them on their website too. I think this is the third one that I've bought over time, right? So it'll take me about 2 years to shoot this thing out if I was only shooting this one. Now I have a secondary target that is actually made for broadheads, so I'll stop shooting broadheads into my bag targets that aren't made for it. It plain as day says field point target. So anyways, let's talk about it a little bit. The number one thing that I don't like about the bag targets is the weight, right? So if you go and you get yourself a bag target, they are a little bit heavier. They're 32 pounds is what they say that they are. If you're not moving it around a whole bunch, then that's perfectly fine. What I usually do whenever I'm shooting this target is I will set it stationary somewhere, and then I will back myself up and mark my spots, right? My 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, because I like to shoot out to 80, right? So that's what I usually do with this target. Don't go to moving the target. It's heavy. It's just a pain, right? Bag targets in general. Number one, I do like this target. It's got two sides to it, right? So I can shoot this side. I can turn it around. I can shoot the other side. If you watched any of my broadhead reviews from this last season, I will shoot the sides of the target, the tops of the target, everything, trying to get that, you know, shoot it all the way around instead of just shooting in one spot. If you end up with a bag target, once you get your bow sighted in, start sending them at different spots. It's just going to help the longevity of your target in general. It doesn't matter which one it is, and it's going to keep you from doing this. Did this today. I come out, sent two just to make sure I was going to be good enough to shoot for the video, and yeah, I ruined one of my fletchings. So anyways, don't do that. Shoot at different dots, and you won't have that problem. The other plus side about it is, again, it's got a 20 by 20 shoot face surface is what I call it, right? So you've got a 20-inch by 20-inch target. It's hard to miss, right? So whenever you're getting out and you're sighting in a bow for the first time, or you haven't shot in a while, it is nice to have that bigger face target so you're not losing arrows. Is what it is. Anybody says they've never lost an arrow, they're lying. Let's talk about a negative to this target, in my opinion, right? So everything's opinionated, right? In my opinion, the only thing that I don't like about the bag targets is it says it's weatherproof. Well, if you have ever owned a bag target, they are weatherproof to an extent, right? So what I like to do getting closer to season is I will take this target or a target and I will set it up at 25 yards or at 35 yards, wherever I'm planning on hunting that weekend. I have got, you know, multiple spots in my head where I do like to go, and, you know, if it's rut, I might have it set up at 60. That way I know I'm good out to 60. But what I like to do is I like to leave my target outside every morning before I go to work. I'll come out, I'll send three. Leave the arrows in the target. I don't even go look at them. Get home that afternoon, I come pull them, I send three more, leave it alone, repeat every day. I'm telling you guys, if you start doing that, by the way, about 3 weeks out from season, you're not gonna miss that buck. But anyways, that's something I like to do. With a bag target, the issue that I end up running into is that it will get waterlogged. Now, is that a huge deal? No, it's still catching the arrows, you know, whatever. For my penetration reviews I like to do, that kind of turns into a problem. Another thing, they say that you can't shoot broadheads into these. You can, but you shouldn't. It tears up the bag, number one, and then number two, when you get into your like mechanical broadheads or some of your fixed blades, it's got like hard back edges on them. They don't like to come out. They're not made for a broadhead, so just stick to the field tips. You're gonna be perfectly fine. You can buy covers for these Morrell targets, which is another good thing. If you notice that you're starting to shoot it out, go get you a cover, put over the top of it, right? And it'll help the longevity of that target a little bit. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about that I do really enjoy about bag targets is how easy it is to pull arrows, right? So I've got a 5-year-old that loves to shoot just as much as I do. When we get out here shooting in the yard, I always pull this bag target out, and the reason being, guys, is that he can pull his own arrows, and whether you believe it or not, it means everything in the world to those kids that they have a target that, number one, those lightweight arrows can go into, and then number two, they can pull their own arrows. So whether you're shooting 400 foot per second or you're shooting, you know, I don't know, 50 foot per second, whatever those little bows are shooting, the awesome thing about these bag targets are you can get penetration in them, so they really feel like they're doing something, and it makes all the difference in the world to those kids or your significant other or whatever that might be pulling a lighter bow. So for those cases, these targets are awesome, and they're super cheap, man. $59.99. And like I said, usually, and I'm bad on targets, I'm terrible with them. I said it in my last video, I'll say it again in this one, is that I'm terrible about leaving them outside, and that's one thing that I'm not a fan of bag targets for. If you have one spot, so you can see it's got these guys here. I don't know if you can see that up there, but basically it's two holes on, one on each end so that you can hang this target. So if you have it and it's going to be in a dedicated spot, is it really a big deal that it's getting waterlogged? No. But you leave it outside for 4 months and let it rain on it, and then you pick that dude up to move it somewhere, you're going to notice exactly what I'm talking about. It's going to be waterlogged. It's heavy. So if you end up one of these bag targets and you're not putting it in and out of the garage, then you most certainly want to set it up in one spot and then chalk your distances off of that instead of moving the target. And then the last thing I'm going to say about it before I get to shooting, if you get one of these and it's waterlogged, right? So say that this is a perfect opportunity. Your buddy has one. You want it, whatever, you know, he's going to throw it away, he's going to burn it, who cares, because it's waterlogged. Go get it, put it in a dry environment and let it dry out. Usually about 2 weeks, put a little space heater in front of it. About 2 weeks later, it'll be pretty close to the way it was before it ever got waterlogged. I found that out the hard way because I gave one away and he put a torch on it and dried it out, and he's still shooting it now. So, and that's the target that there's no telling how many lost broadheads are inside of it. So anyways, guys, that's all I've got right now. We're going to set this thing up. I'm going to send a couple arrows. I'd send 3, but now I only have 2 because I punched a hole through one of my fletchings. So we're going to set it up down here. We're going to shoot it, show you how easy it is to pull these out of it. And then, yeah, let's go. By the way, guys, this is the first video you're catching this season of what I'm shooting, and you haven't had a chance to go back and watch that 2022 setup video that I put on here a few weeks ago. Go check that out, man. This new this new stuff's pretty awesome. I'm a real big fan of that Redline gear, and obviously B3. I went to the thumb release, and just when it comes to accuracy, man, it is ridiculous. And I think a lot of that has to do with the weight, and then a lot of it has to do with the way that I'm holding this now, so I'm not punching my trigger. But anyways, let's stop talking, get to shooting. It's one. Dose. All right, guys, so before I get to pulling these, one thing that I like to do, again, like I said, it's got the hangers on it to kind of hang it from a tree to keep it off the ground. I was talking about the waterloggedness earlier. One thing that I did is I've got my little shop chairs, and anytime that I'm shooting on this target specifically, I will always set it on top of a shop chair. It just seems like, you know, number one, it keeps it up, keeps me from shooting at the ground, and then number two, it keeps you from sitting in the water, in the mud, something like that, and getting that waterlogged kind of feeling along the bottom. So this is the first thing we want to talk about. Check this out. Just grab with, I'm going to grab with 2 fingers this time. That is the great thing about these bag targets. Oh, Sarge is trying to be famous. Look at him over here creeping in the background. Hey guys, so you just seen why I love these bag targets so much. 2 fingers. Arrows come out super easy. And I don't know how many hundreds or thousands of arrows I send into this target. Not this one specifically because I just bought it, but the last 2 I've had before they were actually shot out. And as long as you're shooting at different dots every time, man, it's going to take years upon years to shoot these things out. And I was sending broadheads and field tips, which again, it's a field tip target. It's not made to shoot broadheads. So if you end up with one of these, again, guys, bang for your buck, super awesome. It's cheap, $59.99 on Max Pair Wings website, and yeah, man, they're pretty durable. And like I said, if you do get it waterlogged because you make a mistake, you leave it out in the rain, put it in a dry spot, let it dry out, and it's gonna be just fine. Yeah, that's all I got, guys. That is the Morrell Yellow Jacket 425. Yeah, man, it's just a good target all around. So hey guys, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, hit that little follow button, and hit the little bell up top. You never know when we're gonna do a product you just might need. Good hunting, guys.